guys happy, man. I just want them happy with in the right situation to soar. Unfortunately, they're so good that they're going to go to a team that wasn't that good the prior year. But that could all change with an announcement of their names. That can all change quickly.
Do you have a spot that you want Shedeur to go to that you're not?
No.
You don't have one.
You know what his goal is? I just saw it on his podcast because he has a podcast too. I just saw it. Those two, everybody has one, but Rich was first.
Did you sabotage my son? Because it didn't help.
I tried my
and nothing
best.
You did
I tried my best to help.
You just told me he was kind, he was wonderful.
He shook everybody's hand.
Yeah.
I tweeted it.
But you didn't tell that to nobody.
Yes, I
you
did.
kept it a secret.
It went viral.
Nobody saw it. I didn't see it. Because if I had known, I would have led with that. Now you're telling me that. Nobody saw it.
I tweeted it.
So when they were murdering his character, did you retweet it?
I did.
No.
I promise.
No, you did. No, you did.
Coach Prime, I said it on Get Up.
No, you did.
I said it on Get Up.
These guys happy, man. I just want them happy. What Mel Kiper just said that has Browns reporters scrambling and former NFL players jumping into the conversation. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? Let's begin. Everything just changed, and I don't think people fully understand how big this is yet. No, seriously, pause for a second and really think about what we just heard. This isn't just some random contract detail. This isn't one of those off-season stories that disappears in a week. This feels different. This feels intentional. This feels like a move that's been quietly building behind the scenes while everyone else was distracted. Because teams don't do this by accident. You don't structure something like this unless you already know what you have. And that's the part that's got me locked in right now, because Cleveland isn't acting like they drafted a developmental piece. They're not treating this like a long-term project. This doesn't feel like, let's see what happens in a few years. Nah, this feels like they're preparing for something much sooner. And if you've been watching this league long enough, you know exactly what that means. We've seen this before. Not the exact same situation, but the pattern. A player gets overlooked, falls further than expected. The narrative starts to shift. People start doubting, questioning, picking apart everything. And then, behind closed doors, a team sees something completely different. They see readiness. They see control. They see someone who can handle the moment before the moment even arrives. And when that happens, organizations start moving differently. They start planning ahead. They start creating opportunities before the rest of the world even realizes what's coming. That's what this feels like. Because let's be real, if this was just hype, if this was just noise, if this was just media trying to stir something up, you wouldn't see moves like this tied to performance. You wouldn't see a structure that basically says, go prove it and we're ready to reward you immediately. That's not normal for someone in this position. That's belief. That's confidence. That's a front office looking at everything: practice, preparation, mindset, and saying, yeah, we're not waiting. And now the energy is starting to shift. You can feel it. Fans are picking up on it. Analysts are starting to circle back. Conversations are getting louder. Because deep down, everybody knows when a team starts acting like this, something is coming. And the scary part? It might already be closer than anyone expects. Because if this is real, if what we're seeing actually means what it looks like it means, then Cleveland might have just changed their entire future without anyone noticing. And now we're all sitting here trying to catch up to something that's already in motion. So the real question is, why does this feel like the beginning of something massive? Let's talk about the one thing nobody is breaking down the right way: the quarterback room in Cleveland. Because on the surface, it looks simple. It looks settled. It looks like just another depth chart heading into camp. But if you've really been paying attention, if you've been watching how this is unfolding, then you already know this is anything but normal. This room is unstable. You've got a starter trying to prove he can still be that guy after everything: injuries, inconsistency, pressure from every direction. And let's be real, the expectations haven't gone anywhere. Cleveland didn't build this roster to be average. They didn't invest all this talent just to sit in the middle of the league. So now you've got pressure at the top. Then you've got the rest of the room. Guys who are competing, grinding, waiting for a shot, but not necessarily expected to take over. Not yet. Not this early. And that's where everything starts to shift. Because right in the middle of all that, you've got a wild card. A player who wasn't supposed to shake the room this fast. A player who wasn't supposed to make this uncomfortable this early. But here we are. And the more you look at it, the more you realize this isn't just a typical let him develop situation. This isn't some long-term stash. This isn't a clipboard season. This is a real competition. Not loud, not public, but it's there. And you can feel it building. Because every rep matters now. Every throw in camp matters. Every decision, every read, every moment on that field, it's all being watched differently. This isn't just competition, this is pressure. Pressure on the starter to hold his spot. Pressure on the coaching staff to make the right call. Pressure on the organization because they might have found something they weren't even expecting this soon. And when that kind of pressure enters a quarterback room, things change fast. We've seen this story before. Think about how quickly situations flipped in this league. One preseason, one injury, one breakout performance, and suddenly everything you thought was set is gone. That's how fragile these roles really are. And what makes this even more intense is that people on the outside aren't catching it yet. Fans are still looking at this like it's business as usual. Media is still treating it like a standard depth chart. But inside that building, they know. They know this isn't just depth. This is a takeover waiting to happen. Because when a player starts showing signs, early, real signs, not hype, you don't ignore that. You adjust to it. You prepare for it. And Cleveland right now, they're preparing. Quietly, carefully, but very, very intentionally. And the scary part? He doesn't need years. He might only need one moment. They didn't just doubt him, they tried to erase him from the conversation. And that's the part that still doesn't sit right with me. Because this wasn't normal criticism. This wasn't just analysts breaking down tape or questioning mechanics. Nah, this felt personal. This felt like people had already made up their minds before he even stepped into the process. People didn't just question him, they dismissed him. They labeled him early, said he was overhyped, said the spotlight came from his last name instead of his game, said he hadn't faced real competition, said he wouldn't translate, said he wasn't built for Sundays. And the craziest part? He kept showing up and proving the opposite. Week after week, under pressure, behind protection that wasn't exactly elite, taking hits, making reads, delivering throws that require real control, real composure. You can't fake that. You can't manufacture that. That's instinct. That's preparation. That's someone who understands the game at a different level. But still, the narrative didn't change. If anything, it got louder. And we've seen this pattern before. When a player doesn't fit the narrative people expect, they start looking for reasons to tear it down. They start nitpicking everything. Every mistake gets amplified. Every success gets minimized. It's never enough. And that's how you create something dangerous. Because now it's not just about playing football anymore. Now it's personal. Now it's about proving something. Now it's about walking into every single moment with a chip on your shoulder that never goes away. This is what happens when talent meets disrespect. This is what happens when the league gets it wrong. Because make no mistake, when players like this finally get the right opportunity, when everything lines up just enough, they don't just play well. They explode. Think about it. Think about how many times we've seen quarterbacks come into the league overlooked, questioned, pushed down boards, and then suddenly everything flips. One chance, one stretch. One moment where preparation meets opportunity, and now the entire narrative has to be rewritten. That's the energy building right now. Because everything we're seeing in this moment, it's not random. It's not luck. It's not some overnight rise. This is the result of everything that came before it. Every doubt, every headline, every conversation where his name got pushed to the side. All of it. And now it's starting to come back around. Now the same people who questioned are watching a situation develop that they can't ignore anymore. Now the league has to deal with the possibility that they misread this entire thing. And that's where it gets real. Because when a player carries that kind of history with him, when he steps onto the field with something to prove and the ability to prove it, that's when things change fast. And now, he finally has the stage to answer all of it. You can feel it building, even if the rest of the world hasn't caught up yet. That's the craziest part about moments like this. They don't arrive out of nowhere. They don't just randomly explode on a Sunday afternoon. No. If you're really watching closely, if you're paying attention to the details, you start to see the signs way before everybody else does. And right now, the signs are everywhere. This isn't just off-season work. This isn't just a rookie trying to get ready. This is different. This is calculated. This is someone who understands exactly what's in front of him and is preparing like he knows the opportunity could hit at any second. That's how breakthroughs happen in this league. It's not about talent alone. Everybody at this level has talent. It's about timing, preparation, and what you do when nobody's watching. The extra reps, the film sessions, the chemistry being built quietly, away from the cameras. That's where it really starts. And if you followed enough NFL stories, you already know this pattern. Unknown player gets a chance, flashes something, and then suddenly the entire league is scrambling trying to figure out how they missed it. We've seen it with quarterbacks who weren't supposed to take over this fast. Guys who came in with low expectations, sat in the background, and then one opportunity changed everything. One injury, one preseason performance, one drive that makes coaches look at each other like, wait, is this real? That's how fast it flips. And what makes this situation even more real is the way the organization is moving, because teams don't invest energy like this unless they're expecting something back. They don't create opportunity unless they believe someone is ready to take it. That's not hope. That's expectation. That's a front office saying, we see it, now it's just a matter of time. And when you combine that with a player who's already carrying something to prove, who's already been doubted, already been overlooked, that's when things get dangerous. Because now you've got preparation meeting opportunity. You've got confidence meeting timing. You've got a situation where everything is quietly lining up piece by piece while the rest of the league is still sleeping on it. You can feel it coming. You can see the pieces lining up. And the scary part for everyone else? This isn't about if anymore. This isn't some long-term projection or hopeful development story. This is about when. When does the opportunity come? When does the moment show up? When does everything finally connect? Because once it does, there's no going back. And when that moment hits, everything changes overnight. This, right here, might be the moment we look back on and say, that's where everything started. Because what we're watching unfold, it's got that feeling. That same energy we've seen before when the league gets it wrong. When a player slips, gets overlooked, gets pushed down the board, and then turns around and becomes something nobody was ready for. Late pick, turns into the guy. Overlooked, turns into dominant. Doubted, turns into undeniable. We've seen this story before, but not like this. Not with this level of noise, not with this much pressure surrounding it, not with this many people already invested in proving him wrong. That's what makes this different. That's what makes this feel bigger. Because if this hits, if this actually plays out the way it's starting to look, this isn't just a good pick. This isn't just a solid quarterback situation. This becomes one of those stories. The kind people talk about for years. The kind that reshapes how teams evaluate talent. The kind that makes front offices go back and question everything they thought they knew. Because think about it, if a player comes in with this much doubt around him and still finds a way to rise, still finds a way to take over, still finds a way to become the face of a franchise, that changes narratives across the entire league. That sends a message. And right now, it feels like Cleveland might be sitting on that exact situation because they didn't just take a chance, they positioned themselves. They created flexibility. They set up a scenario where if this works, it really works. And if you're a fan watching this closely, you can already see where it's heading. You can already feel the shift. Because moments like this don't stay quiet forever. Eventually, it shows up on the field. Eventually, it turns into wins. Eventually, it turns into a player that everybody has to acknowledge, whether they like it or not. And when that happens, there's no hiding from it. They missed. They missed. They all missed. And now they're going to have to live with it. Every team that passed, every voice that doubted, every conversation that tried to downplay what he brings to the game, they're all going to have to watch it unfold in real time. And that's what makes this so exciting right now. We're not just watching a player develop. We're watching the early stages of something that could flip everything. A career that rewrites the narrative. A moment that turns doubt into dominance. A situation that goes from overlooked to unforgettable. So when it happens, don't act surprised. Don't come back later and say you didn't see the signs. Because this moment right here, this was the warning. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this actually turns into something special, or is the hype getting ahead of reality? Drop your thoughts below. Because this story, it's just getting started.